the quest for human origins. It's often said that the search for human origins is a journey of discovery not just into the past, but also into the very heart of what it means to be human. The story of how we came to be has been written in bones, in ancient tools, in DNA, and in the stories we tell about ourselves. But in many ways, our understanding of this origin story is still being shaped by new revelations, some buried in the depth of the earth, others encoded in the microscopic strands of our genes. The tale begins millions of years ago in the African savanna, where the first flickers of humanity began to take form. The mystery of the first ancestors. Our story starts long before written history, at a time when Earth was a different place. About 7 million years ago, our common ancestor with chimpanzees lived in what would later become the savannas of Africa. This ancestor, which may have looked something like a large, intelligent ape, was likely not quite human, but was a critical stepping stone in our evolutionary path. Over millions of years, this ancestor's descendants began to branch out. Some stayed in the trees, while others ventured onto the open plains, where the climate was changing. As a result, early humans and their relatives began adapting in ways that set them apart from the other great apes. One of the earliest signs of this divergence came in the form of bipedalism, the ability to walk upright. Fossils like Sahelanthropus cadensis, discovered in 2001 in Chad, give us a glimpse of these early hominins. Its skull suggests a creature that might have walked upright, but still retained many ape-like features. The big breakthrough came with the discovery of Australopithecus afarensis, the famous fossil Lucy, found in 1974 in Ethiopia. Lucy, living around 3.2 million years ago, is one of the most important pieces of a human puzzle. She walked on 2 legs, but still had a brain the size of an ape's. Lucy was a creature on the cusp of humanity, and her discovery was like finding the key to an ancient door, a door that would open onto the sprawling and complex tale of human evolution. From stone tools to mastery of fire, the story of human origins took another giant leap with the advent of tools. Early hominins were not just passive creatures reacting to the world. They actively shaped it. The discovery of stone tools in East Africa and sites like Oldoway Gorge suggested that our ancestors were not just wanderers, but builders and thinkers. These tools, often no more than sharp-edged rocks, marked a pivotal moment in the evolutionary timeline. They allowed our ancestors to hunt, scavenge, and manipulate their environment in ways that were far more complex than any of the animals around them. Around 1.8 million years ago, Homo erectus, a direct ancestor of modern humans, began to emerge. Homo erectus was the first to control fire, a breakthrough that dramatically altered the course of human evolution. With fire, Homo erectus could cook food, defend against predators, and create warmth in the cold. The ability to control fire was also crucial for the development of culture and social structures. Gathering around a fire likely fostered communication and shared experiences. Fire wasn't the only tool Homo erectus mastered. By this time, humans were also developing more complex tools, such as hand axes and spears, and refining techniques for hunting. These advancements were key to the survival of early humans, and it wasn't just about survival. They were laying a foundation for the emergence of art, language, and social systems. The genetic revolution. As fascinating as fossils and tools are, they can only tell part of the story of human origins. For many years, scientists believed that the key to understanding human evolution lay in the fossil record. But in the 21st century, a revolutionary discovery emerged: DNA. In 2003, the Human Genome Project completed the first draft of the human genome, revealing that humans share around 98% of their DNA with chimpanzees. The close genetic relationship was a clear sign that humans didn't just evolve in isolation, but were part of a broader web of life that includes our closest living relatives. Then came the discovery of Neanderthal DNA. For years, Neanderthals were considered an evolutionary dead end, a separate branch of humanity that went extinct. But in 2010, researchers announced that they had sequenced the Neanderthal genome. This was groundbreaking. Neanderthals didn't just vanish. They had interbred with our ancestors. In fact, anyone of non-African descent today carries traces of Neanderthal DNA in their genome. This revelation turned the idea of human evolution on its head, showing that the boundaries between different hominin species were much blurrier than previously thought. Further revelations came when ancient DNA from other early human species, such as Denisovans, were sequenced. These humans, who lived in Asia around 40,000 years ago, were an even more mysterious group. The Denisovans left no fossils that we know of, but their genetic legacy lives on in modern humans. Some populations in Southeast Asia and Oceania carry up to 5% Denisovan DNA in their genomes. The emergence of Homo sapiens. The evolution of Homo sapiens, our own species, is still a subject of much debate. Our earliest ancestors, those living around 300,000 years ago in Africa, likely looked much like us. But it's important to note that humans didn't just appear suddenly. The journey to anatomically modern humans was a slow and gradual process, a story told in the stones, bones, and genes. Homo sapiens emerged in Africa and slowly began to migrate out of the continent, spreading across the globe. Along the way, they encountered other human species, such as Neanderthals and Denisovans, and their interactions left genetic traces. The idea of a single, linear progression from primitive to advanced humans was upended by the discovery of ancient fossils and genetic evidence showing that our ancestors lived alongside other species for tens of thousands of years. Interestingly, Homo sapiens didn't just survive, they thrived. They invented more sophisticated tools, developed agriculture, and began to settle in permanent communities. Around 12,000 years ago, they began to domesticate plants and animals, laying the foundation for the rise of civilization. This leap marked the end of the Paleolithic era and the beginning of the Neolithic, and it was perhaps the most significant development in the entire human saga. The mysteries yet to be unveiled. Despite these incredible discoveries, much remains unknown about our origins. The process of human evolution is not a straight line but a complex, branching tree with many paths and dead ends. New fossils and genetic data are being uncovered every year, and with each discovery, our understanding becomes more nuanced. What about the out-of-Africa theory? While many researchers believe that Homo sapiens first emerged in Africa before spreading to the rest of the world, new findings suggest a more complicated story. Some evidence points to earlier migrations out of Africa, and some even argue that humanity's origins might be more cosmopolitan, involving significant gene flow between different hominin species in different parts of the world. In addition, we're just beginning to grasp the role that cultural evolution played in shaping human societies. How did language emerge? What drove the rapid acceleration of technology and social complexity? What was the role of art, spirituality, and social bonds in our evolution? As researchers delve deeper into the mysteries of human origins, they are not just looking back into time, they're also looking ahead, trying to understand how our evolutionary past might influence our future. With advances in genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, and space exploration, the journey of human discovery is far from over. The past and the future are inextricably linked as we continue to write the story of who we are and where we're going. Human origins are a fascinating puzzle, one that is constantly shifting and evolving with each new discovery. And as the pieces fall into place, we find that the story of who we are, where we came from, and where we might be going, is one that we are still very much in the process of telling.